Hi, thank you for buying your 4-season Bead Mosaic kit. In this video, I am going to go over some additional tree options that you might not have thought of that you can do with your kit. And that's the beauty of this kit, is it's so versatile. You can create endless types of trees that you want using the same materials that are in the kit already. So just hang on a little bit. I am going to show you what else is possible, and I can't wait to see your creations. When you're done, don't forget to post them on Bead Mosaic Facebook group, because we love to see what everybody's coming up with. I hope you enjoy. Now every kit comes with 4 black glitter strips, and these are 2 inches by 5.5 inches, which is the right height for any of the trees. Now you can start simple with just doing your set cuts like I showed you in the first video, but then you can also start to get a little bit more complicated by adding cuts to those simple cuts. And so I'm going to show you here some of these different tree examples and how to create them. Now, in the first video, I talked to you about these basic examples. This is a single cut. This is 2 cuts to give you a couple of branches. Then you can add more. This one has 5 cuts. And then you can get a little creative if you want by adding some squigglies. And then again, be more creative by making them wider and adding more branches. And then I encourage you to mix up the trees together, because there's always different types of trees out there that are in the forest together. But if you want a more traditional look, kind of like more of a maple tree, there are several different options, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a minute. But you can see there's some squat ones and some upper ones. And then there's also some different perspectives you might not have thought of, like looking up through the trees. You can get some different vantage points with that as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create this. We're going to take our black foam and we're going to cut this to look like this. I'm going to cut it into small, really long triangles, so more like slivers. And these are going to be irregular. What I typically do is rotate the foam, because it's easier to cut through a wider piece than to try to start that little bitty skinny part. So if you rotate it, you can kind of always get the fat side. And then just slice it down. They don't need to be the same length. You want to continue to do this over and over. I would cut the whole thing, some of them wider than others. Again, you want that random look to them. You can also do it like this, where you cut one big long one and then kind of slice it down the middle. A little bit more difficult, but it creates a unique look. And so there's a lot of ways you can slice a tree. I'm just showing you a few of them. So we're going to continue to cut this up into long slivers. And go ahead and continue cutting these. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. Again, don't worry if they're not perfect. Just cut them all until you've got the whole thing finished up. That way you have a good variety to choose from when we get to this next part. Now you're going to take your board and you're going to lay these out in different positions. So I like to just do some practice with mine. You don't have to use the whole thing. As you can see, I'm laying them off to the side. I'm going to see what gives me the best perspective, and just play with these. Have a good time with it until you get it in a way that feels right to you, so that you can get this season just perfect. Now, I'm kind of not that crazy about this layout right now, so I'm just going to pick these guys up. That's the beauty of not doing them yet. And I'm going to start over. I've got a new palette. I'm going to start something different, and I think I'm going to do more of a standing at the bottom rather than standing in the middle perspective. And that just changes. Now, I recommend, if you want ideas on how to get the perspective right for this, just pull up pictures of aspen trees or whatever kind of trees you want, or go in your backyard and put your camera up straight up to the sky and take a look and see what's above you, and continue playing with this until it feels right. Now that the layout feels right, I'm going to start to peel the back off of these branches. And I'm going to stick them down, and I'm going to let the outside hang off. I don't want to peel the paper all the way off because it tends to get a little extra sticky then. But you can peel it off, and that way too, when you cut the ends off, you can reuse them for other things as well. I tend to not waste even little slivers. It's just kind of in my nature. But go ahead and continue to peel these and stick them off the edges. Now that they're all stuck, just take your knife and cut the ends off right at the edge, and they should be pretty easy. I just kind of pull the ends off and then make a little stack of leftover tree branches because I can use them for other things, which I'm going to show you very, very soon how to use these up. But go ahead and continue cutting all the little tails off of these. Now let's see about adding some branches to these tree trunks. Now you can get your ones that you cut out and see if they would work, but I like to use the little slivers that we had left over because they're already small, and like this one, you can just cut it at an angle, peel it up, and then stick it right on to your tree. And so this is a way to use up those little salvage pieces. Now, sometimes you have to cut them at an angle, so you can cut a little piece there and then stick one there. These are random. These are things that you can definitely, you want them to be a bit irregular. You peel off the back and just use whatever little slivers that you have and continue adding these. Now, this example of how to add branches can be used for any of the tree designs. So if you cut some of the simpler ones and you want to add some little slivers to them to give them a little bit more character, then go ahead and do that. You know, this is something that you can experiment with, try in different sizes and styles. And again, you're using these little scraps. If they don't work, that's fine. And this is what my trees look like when they're done in this. You can add more branches if you want. Now let's put our focus on a more traditional tree. So you're going to need to grab your foam and cut the top rounded a little bit. This is going to help. And then we need to cut in that tree trunk. So you're just going to kind of cut an oval shape here and then give it a little splay at the bottom so that you can work with that trunk. And it can be as tall as you want, but you have to make sure that it's going to fit on the canvas. And I've practiced with these several times. If you want to practice, I encourage you to get a separate sheet of paper to do that. But then you're really going to just start making cuts, and you're going to place that knife in and start making random cuts. Now, don't worry if you think the tree is going to look too uniform. I'm going to show you some ways to not make it look that way. But for now, just worry about kind of getting some splits in there. You are actually going to be removing some of these little sections to give it that spread out look. So for now, just be very random about it. Be always cognizant that there is a center trunk that is holding all these branches. So you never want to cut all the way across. It's very important that you don't do that. I know it's a little bit hard to see sometimes because the black is not easy to see through, but you'd want to keep that blade sharp. And don't worry about uniformity because, again, the more natural the tree is, the less uniform it's going to be. So we're just going to continue to cut all of these things, and then you're going to have kind of a feathered look to those. From here, you're going to start to trim this tree. Now, what I usually do is just kind of play with the branches a little bit, spreading them apart, seeing which ones I like, which ones I don't. And then you can cut some, make them smaller. You can cut some out of there because they're probably way too crowded. So you can cut some of the slivers and just remove them. And what I like to do is use those slivers to add to the branches and make them larger later. Now, I don't have the whole process with this because it would take a very long time, but I want to show you what the end result is, and it's really just an extension of that previous video that I made showing you how to add the little branches. So once you get some of this trimmed out of here, then we'll go ahead and glue it down to the board and then add some extra branches to it, and this is what it turns out to be at the end. As I mentioned before, the great thing about this kit is that there are so many ways to create seasons, and I really encourage you to play with them, to use different styles and things together, and just be experimental. These are the basics for the trees that I create, and here are a couple of examples of when mixing different styles together. This is one that I created with the maple tree and some branches, and then here is a finished view, and these are my works, not necessarily something that can be accomplished with the kit. These my designs are a little more advanced. But I hope that you have enjoyed putting your kit together. And when you're ready to challenge yourself a little more, you can go to beadmosaic.com to buy more supplies or try other kits that we have to offer. Thank you.